reason to do so. U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order signaling the withdrawal a year ago, having criticized the organization for being too China-centric during the COVID-19 pandemic. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services said it took the decision due to the World Health Organization's alleged mishandling of the pandemic and inability to reform and political influence from member states. The World Health Organization has rejected these claims, and its Director General, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, says the withdrawal was just a loss for the U.S. and the world. We're joining on the phone lines. We've been joined by Professor Fred Binka, a clinical epidemiologist and chair of the Ghana Health Service Board. Prof, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us. From the Ghanaian public health perspective, how could the United States withdrawal from the World Health Organization affect disease surveillance, outbreak response, and health system strengthening in Ghana in general?
Well, thank you very much for having me, and greetings to your listeners. This global pact that we have been signing with the WHO allows the world to work as one body. Today, the world is a very small place, and what happens in one part of the world will spread to the other part of the world in less than half a day. The flights are going, people are moving, and so the WHO was a good point that had been established under the UN to bring all countries together. 195 countries have always come together to look at the health challenges and to sign a pact to share pathogens and to detect new pathogens that are showing up in every part of the world. So the American government was part of this process until January last year, that they served the final notice that they were going to leave, and that has matured now, and they will be considered as no longer members. So what it does is that we now do not share information directly with them. In Ghana, the US government has tried to sign a separate agreement with us. So it's gone from multilateral agreements to bilateral agreements. Early last year, the team from the US came and provided a template for us to sign and share pathogens under a bilateral agreement with Ghana. I'm not sure whether that has been signed, but for us directly, we are still under the WHO partnership,
right,
where we've signed the partnership agreement, and we'll be sharing information with all other countries except the United States.
I see. So if we're looking in terms of impact, what will there be, if any?
Yeah, so the major impact has been that having made this decision, the United States has withdrawn its funds, its resources that they have been putting into all this. They have been very, very serious supporting countries like Ghana to make sure they can look at the issues of pathogens, new pathogens. You know, pathogens can create a problem. We've had the recent COVID, and everybody, it brought almost the world to a standstill. The only way that is we are able to control that or have an early peek into what is going to happen is if we share these pathogens that we conduct surveillance in our own countries, and we have a pool where people put these things together, and we could see how this is spread across the world. So the major impact is that it's taking away its money, and so some countries will not be able to do some of the work that they do. But Ghana has a system that is championed by the Ghana Health Service and the Ministry of Health, including the universities like Noguchi, KNUST, that have already been set up to try and continue to collect the pathogens across our country. The level of funding, I don't think is going to reduce, but we may need some equipment and some reagents, and that's where some of this will affect our country. So the government has to step up and fill in the gaps to get the right reagents and some of the equipment that will allow us to achieve our goal.
Prof, I'd like to thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Professor Fred Binka is a clinical epidemiologist and chair of the Ghana Health Service Board, speaking with us there. Let's do some other stories this afternoon. And Pressure Group Arise Ghana has suspended its indefinite picketing at the United States Embassy for 1 week, warning that it will resume in full force should embassy officials fail to provide satisfactory assurances on the sooner return of former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. The protesters have for the last 3 days embarked on a series of marches around the U.S. Embassy for the extradition of Ken Ofori-Atta. The conveners have been speaking. My colleague Christian Yale, he will join us right now to talk to us because he's been on the beat from day one. Chris, thank you for joining us. What is the demand of the U.S. Embassy officials on day 3 of the picketing?
All right, Crosby. So for the first demand, they are saying that they want the officials at the embassy in Accra, upon receipt of the petition, to augment all efforts being undertaken by U.S. authorities abroad. So what they are asking is that once they have received this petition, they should go ahead to now liaise with their counterparts who are abroad to ensure that Ken Ofori-Atta is quickly or expeditiously extradited to return to the country to face justice or to answer urgent questions. And so they believe that looking at the years of friendship and bond shared between Ghana and the United States of America, this becomes an important issue that requires all effort and requires all zealousness in dealing with it. That is what Bernard Mona indicated when he was submitting that petition to the U.S. official.
And did the embassy officials respond to the preliminary issues raised by the leadership of Arise Ghana?
No, the official did not respond. You know, it was quite a diplomatic move, I should say, because he just received the petition and all that he said was thank you. He just said thank you, received the petition, and went back inside the embassy. Now, one would have expected that he would even say that once they've received the petition, they would go ahead to transmit it to all the relevant, officers or officials who are directly dealing with the issue. But he just said thank you. You know, a lot of the time for these officials at the embassies or the high commissions, what they would do is that because they wouldn't want to say something they've not prepared or written already on paper, they wouldn't want to say something that would make them commit themselves or later hunt them. So they just utter a few words, receive the petitions, and then they go back inside. So that is what's happened. But what we know right now is that they have suspended that petition, that ticket, and that within the next 1 week, if nothing happens, if they do not receive any assurances, then they are saying that they'll go back to embark on an indefinite one until they see Ken Ofori-Atta drop at the Kotoka International Airport. Crosby.
Chris, thank you. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Christian Yale is my colleague there, engaging with us there. There's some politics to the camp of the NPP. Now, on Thursday, 5 presidential aspirants of the NPP, they signed a peace pact committing themselves to a peaceful and transparent election process, presidential primary scheduled for January 31. But Dr. Tamaklo said the January 31 presidential primary may be destructive to the party because the fundamental problems of bringing disgruntled members together has not yet been solved. He spoke to 3FM earlier.
The so-called top-bottom approach clearly undermines the party's democracy and may lead to the discontent among party members. A very sad situation. Fundamental issues within the party before the 2024 election and post-election haven't been addressed. This pact is a distraction from this problem. The entire process appears to crash and will surely compromise the integrity of the upcoming election on 31st January. Mark my word. I foresee the rush electoral building collapsing because of the weak foundation leadership. Firstly, it's unfortunate that my good friend Annan has still not realized that the abysmal performance of the party 2024 happened under his leadership, and the blame must be put on his square. That is the first thing you should know. And his usual tricks has come to speak the Queen's And that is not what the party. I personally will not be there because I don't believe in the hope. The process should have started from the grassroots are our party. If we fail to listen to the grass, then we don't have a political party. Among the five, I don't see any of them who are the interest of the ordinary person in Ghana.
That's the voice of a founding member of the NPP, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, speaking with us there. Let's get onto the phone lines and engage a political analyst, Dr. Jonathan Asantiochiri, on the significance of this peace pact by the party, the first of its kind for a presidential primary. Doc, thank you for joining us. Good afternoon to you. How significant is this pact by the NPP?
I'm fine.
What I'm asking for, Doc, is this peace pact that has been signed by the aspirants, how significant is that document, or it remains only as a document?
Well, I will start by saying that for the optics, it is good. It has a tendency of taming the aspirants. It has a tendency of making the aspirants speak with their followers, and it has a tendency of making them tone down in some kind of excesses in terms of verbal vituperations. And so for the optics, it is good. But as to whether it will lead to that which they are yearning for, that is a different thing altogether. The idea that you have an internal elections leading to a peace pact in itself is flawed, in the sense that if we are all from the same family and we are going for an internal election, not an external one, if it should warrant a peace pact, then it means that there is no peace within the party. There is nothing like unity within the party. It will have to take a symbolic gesture, of signing a document in order for peace to reign. As far as the fraternity is concerned, then I think that the leadership of the party itself have failed. But it is equally good that they have taken this particular decision, right, to ensure that they find some thin line, as it were, in all the abuses and excesses and so on and so forth. And so, by and large, I will say that it was a good gesture, good for the optics, probably a period where they had to come face to face, because most of the things have been tantrums that have been, given, as far as their own campaign messaging, have been concerned. But this is the first time in a long period where the five had to come face to face. So I guess body language, gesture, reading, and so on and so forth, will take place. And so I think it is good.
And finally from me, Doc, is that beyond the signing of the peace pact, for the leadership of the party themselves, what should they be seen doing? We have just about 8 days to this very important election. What should they be seen doing to engender trust and confidence in the election?
You see, the reason why we saw excesses from both sides is the fact that from the word go, the system has skewed to favor a particular candidate. To decide that you are conducting the election from top to the bottom and maintaining the very people who decided in voting for Dr. Bawumia to become the flag bearer, the majority of them, apart from those who have died, should from the word go tell you that Mr. Kennedy and the rest are disadvantaged. Of course, they have done some amendment to the Constitution allowing a list of people to be part, of this particular electoral college. But suffice to say that it still creates a situation where Dr. Bawumia is ahead. Now, with this and the way and manner some of the leadership have conducted themselves over the period, it doesn't exude confidence in terms of, non-partiality. Because by and large, we've seen people identifying themselves with Dr. Bawumia where they should know better that, you are going to be part of the arbiters. And if that is the case, you don't have to tip off your hand for anybody to see where you belong. It makes the system a bit bizarre. So now that something of that sort has happened, I expect that they will exude that confidence and ensure that there's this non-partiality, from now to the time that they will conduct the elections from a transparent, fairly, and freely manner.
Doc, I'd like to thank you for your time with us on the program.
Welcome, Crosby.
Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere is the voice we heard. Now, still in politics, and the widow of the late Member of Parliament for Ayawaso East constituency, Hajia Amina Adam, has formally declared her intention to contest the National Democratic Congress parliamentary primaries, which was declared vacant. The seat was declared vacant following the demise of the MP for the area. In a press statement signed and issued on January 22, Hajia Amina Adam said she decided to present herself for the party's primaries after consultations with community leaders, party members, and residents of the constituency. She said the decision followed weeks of reflection after the passing of her husband on January 4 this year, describing the period as one of personal loss for her and her children. Baba Jamal, who is currently Ghana's High Commissioner to Nigeria, has also declared his intention to contest the parliamentary primaries scheduled to take place on February 7 this year to elect the party's candidate for the Ayawaso East constituency parliamentary by-election slated for March 3 this year. We'll be speaking to the special aide of the widow of the late MP. But first, let's walk you through and take you through the list of widows who contested seats after their husbands and the husband MPs left the position, how they have fared in these roles. And we'll see them right now on your screens if you've joined us on Facebook. The first on the list we're talking about this afternoon is the latest one. Hajia Amina Adam, widow of the late Member of Parliament for Ayawaso East, Nasir Ture Mahama. She has officially declared her intention to contest the NDC parliamentary primaries to replace her husband following his death in January 2026. There's also the mention of Ophelia Mensah Hereford, and this is in 2020. She is the wife of slain Infantiman MP Eko Kwanzaa Hereford. She resigned from the Ghana Police Service to contest the seat on the ticket of the MPP and won in the 2020 general elections. Lydia Akanvariba Lamisi, also in 2020, is widow of the late David Adakudugu, former NDC MP for Timpani. She contested the 2020 parliamentary elections and then she won, replacing her husband. There's also the mention of Lydia Seram Al-Hassan. She is the wife of late NPP MP for Ayawaso West Wogon, Emmanuel Chemanti Jako. She won the by-election in 2019 and retained the seat in the 2020 elections. If we take you far back, Linda Obinewa Akwele Oklu in 2016 also had the same fate. She is widow of the late NDC parliamentary candidate for Shai Osunoku, Desmond William Oklu, who died in a car crash. She contested in the 2016 elections and then she also won. In the 2000s as well, Cecilia Jan Amwa, this happened in 2000. She is widow of the MPP candidate for Asutifi South, Professor Philip Kofi Ajabein Amwa. She contested and won the seat in the 2000 general election. So these are just the number or the names of widows or spouses we've seen contest seats of their falling husbands in the parliamentary elections. Well, let's speak to Ismail Abdul Razak. He's a special aide to the widow of the late NP who joins us live on the phone. Ishmael, thank you for joining us. Good afternoon to you. What informed the decision by the wife of the late MP to contest the vacant seat, and what really are her chances?
Good afternoon to our listeners. Thank you very much for this opportunity given to me. I think she never wanted to contest. It is not her intention to contest the seat. It is the calling of the people when the husband died. Immediately when the husband died, the people started to come in, trooping in her house, calling for her to come and contest. This is an answer to people who called her to come and contest. So I see it as a calling and answering to a call by people who wanted her to lead.
What are her chances really?
Her chances are very, very clear. She's going to win, if not 70% by sure. I'm definitely sure she's going to win by 70%. And that is the target by now because she never wanted to contest. It is the delegates who are calling her to come and contest. And when people are calling you, they mean it. nothing can influence their mind. They mean what they are calling for, and that is what they want to do on 7th February, come next month.
Now, Abdul, there are those who are against women inheriting seats of their departed husbands. What do you make of this call for her to rather focus on mourning her late husband in line with Islamic tradition?
She has indicated it clear in a release that she will be in the house performing and respecting the husband as Islamic demand or Islamic demand. She will not come out and campaign. Those who went there to call for a contest will campaign for her, will make sure she wins the primaries and definitely win the main general election, which is 3rd March next 2 months. The fact of the matter is she has been a very good woman in the community, and her willingness or her calling to lead is something that the community thinks they are going to pay her back for. So she will be doing what she deserves, or she has to be done by Islam, and definitely she will win the election.
I see. Ismail, thank you so much for your time with us on the program. Ismail Abdul Razak, a special aide to the widow of the late MP, speaking with us there. This is all the midday news here on 3FM 92.7. Let's do some other stories. And the Court of Appeal has ordered the Inspector General of Police to take immediate steps to promote 40 police chief inspectors who were excluded from a promotion exercise, while others were promoted to the appropriate ranks during a special amnesty between 2008 and 2020. The appeal challenged an earlier decision of the Kumasi High Court, which had dismissed their suit and ruled that a chief inspector was not entitled to automatic promotion merely by attaining higher academic qualifications. Anne Amagatasia is the counsel of the appellants, and she spoke to 3FM a while ago. Let's take a listen to what she said.
The matter was held in favor of the police service and the IG. However, our clients who were aggrieved by the decision pursued the matter at the Court of Appeal, and today, as you rightly said, justice was served in their favor. So the court rightly stated that the act of the IGP and the police service was not just. And so, in order for justice to prevail, the court said that those police officers be promoted, and also for all their benefits that are due them to be paid to them accordingly. So that was the decision of the court today. And so we are waiting for the full judgment to be able to appraise whatever happened at the Court of Appeal.
The voice of Anne Agbesiasia, the counsel for the appellant, speaking to us there. Now, before we go, lives of members of the task force set up to man the Zongo Junction area are in danger. In the space of a week, 2 of them have sustained knife cuts from pedestrians who resist attempts to drive them away from crossing the highway. The Lankwatana Medina Municipal Assembly deployed the task force and security personnel to the Medina Zongo Junction area to enforce the use of the footbridge. The initiative, which began in December 2025, was aimed at improving pedestrian safety and prevent fatal accident by forcing pedestrians to stop crossing the road illegally.
To use something in his hand and scratch me and say no one can try him, but we don't fight here. We just want the people not to cross. So my intention is not to cross here. We just want the people not to cross. So my intention is not to cross. Whatever you do, we just get you back. So we finally get him back, and he even went to police station that we have been beating him or whatever it is. He's saying, whatever it is. But, so far so good. The work is going on with all these challenges. And somebody can come and try with knife, with guns, anything, anywhere that we are, they try to get us that they want to try. You can see somebody a little here, but they are trained. So maybe you get that you want to beat him, but maybe you also do something that is only more than your own. So we are here not to beat people or whatever, but we want to let the people go back, not to cross the street, but use the full bridge.
So is it true that sometimes they use guns?
Yes, they use the guns. Some of them, they have guns. We don't know either they are national security or they are these people that use guns. So finally, he will try to show you guns that if you didn't allow him, he will give you a shot. So you see, he can use the gun and come over you and cross the street. Yeah, so this one, we need very protection here. Because we need things to protect ourselves. Yeah, because we are here, we have to get some protections. Although the MCE and the regional minister, they are all in this operation, and they also participate in this operation. Sometimes they come here and stand here. They came here and go around checking what is going on. You see, they saw the challenge and they have promised us that they will bring us things to cover ourselves if the people are coming to attack us.
So Mr. Tazi is a member of the SAC, so clearly there's a serious issue here. And I spoke to the MC, Mohammed Faila, and he said they will try and keep them protected here. And once at it, to ensure that their first intention was to make sure this very place is went by military personnel. So it seems to go back to that very, earlier, discussion.
George Queening, thank you so much for your time with us. George Queening is my colleague speaking to us from the Medina Zongo Junction area, ending the midday news here on 3FM 92.7. There's more news on our website, 3news.com. My name is Noble Crosby Annan. Business News is up next with Michael Obodu. Have a great afternoon.
Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. Coming up, a Bank of Ghana cautions against risky use of virtual assets as Ghana prepares for full regulation of digital finance.
And implications of virtual assets in order to discourage uninformed usage and risky adoption.
Meanwhile, Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, and Bank of Ghana partners on virtual asset regulation.
A commitment to promoting informed participation and financial literacy, supporting innovation within clear, predictable, and proportionate regulatory framework, encouraging collaboration among regulators such as Securities and Exchange Commission and Bank of Ghana.
Plus, government returns to Treasury bill market today, seeking to raise almost 10 billion cedis amid surging demand. I am Michael Obodu. Details of these and many other stories coming up shortly. Please stay with us. Let's head straight into the bulletin now. And the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Pandit Esiama, has cautioned the public against the uninformed and risky use of virtual assets, stressing that strong consumer understanding is critical to protecting investors and safeguarding Ghana's financial system. Speaking at the launch of the National Virtual Asset Literacy Initiative in Accra, Dr. Esiama said regulation and enforcement alone cannot address the risks associated with virtual assets unless users across the ecosystem clearly understand how digital assets work and the implications of their use. He explained that the passage of the Virtual Asset Service Providers Act marks a major step in Ghana's financial sector development, but warned that without nationwide education and awareness, innovation in the virtual asset space could expose consumers and the broader economy to avoidable risks.
North Valley, I'm told, is a carefully designed initiative which is led by the Bank of Ghana in collaboration with SEC and key knowledge partners from academia and industry. It is guided by two key policy objectives. First is to strengthen institutional capacity on virtual assets and enabling technologies, particularly blockchain. which is to support effective regulation supervision and policy formulation. The second objective is to promote nationwide awareness and the risks and implications of virtual assets in order to discourage uninformed usage and risky adoption.
That was Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Pandit-Isiama, speaking there. Meanwhile, the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, James Kluche Afeji, says the Commission will work closely with the Bank of Ghana to guide market operators, protect investors, and ensure the orderly integration of virtual assets into Ghana's financial system.
The National Virtual Asset Education Manual, which is being launched today, will contribute to that vision by providing a structured foundation for public education, policy dialogue, the stakeholder engagements. It will demystify virtual assets, clarify key concepts, highlight emerging use cases, and outline the legal and regulatory architecture, and also highlight the key risk considerations that must guide responsible adoption and usage. The National Virtual Asset Literacy Initiative reflects a commitment to promoting informed participation and financial literacy, supporting innovation within clear, predictable, and proportionate regulatory framework, encouraging collaboration among regulators such as Securities and Exchange Commission and Bank of Ghana, the industry, academia, and consumers.
That was the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, James Kluche Afeji, speaking. Now, Government of Ghana returned to the domestic market this morning, seeking to raise 9.825 billion cedis through its weekly treasury bill auction. The ambitious target comes on the back of an exceptional start to the year for the money market. The following 3 Business News Desk report has...
According to the Bank of Ghana BOG data, the first 3 auctions of 2026 were significantly oversubscribed, with investor demand consistently outpacing government targets by double-digit percentages. The auction covers the traditional 3 tenors, offering investors a mix of short and medium-term instruments via the 91-day, 182-day and 364-day bills. Analyst attributes the high appetite for government paper to improving macroeconomic indicators and a flight to safety among institutional investors. As the 2026 budget pivots from stabilization to transformation, the government is increasingly looking to the domestic market to fund its project's fiscal deficit while avoiding more expensive international capital. With inflation down to a single digit of 5.4%, real returns on T-bills are becoming more attractive. The banking sector, having largely met recent recapitalization hurdles, is flush with liquidity and seeking stable assets. The government's commitment with 1.5% surplus has boosted confidence in debt sustainability. While yields have shown signs of softening in recent weeks, they remain a preferred choice for fund managers looking to lock in returns ahead of further anticipated cuts to the monetary policy rate.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report. Now, the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare, has announced a major push to revitalize Ghana's idle public assets through a mix of capital market investment and technical restructuring. The minister revealed that recruitment is underway for transaction advisors to assess defunct state-owned enterprises. A primary focus remains the Commander Sugar Factory, where an interim management team has already begun a technical evaluation to bring the facility back to life. To bridge the funding gap for stalled projects, the government plans to raise $200 million from capital markets. The move is designed to protect existing public investments and ensure the completion of high-priority industrial works. Minister Ofosu Ejari also provided an update on the Ghana Exim Bank, noting that of the 304 million cedis disbursed in 2025, 107 million cedis has already been recovered. She emphasized that the ministry is aggressively pursuing the retrieval of legacy loans to reinvest in the economy. Now, the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, COMAC, has reaffirmed its unity and commitment to the industry following the decision by Star Oil Limited to suspend its membership. In a statement released on Thursday, January 22, 2026, COMAC acknowledged the self-suspension of its member, noting that while it respects the rights of individual companies to make independent decisions, the chamber remains strong, united, and unwavering in its mission. The rift follows a deepening disagreement over the National Petroleum Authority (NPA's) price floor policy. Despite the departure, COMAC has pledged to continue its dialogue with the industry regulator and all stakeholders. Let's listen to Board Chair of COMAC, Gabriel Kumi.
Star Oil is a very key member of the chamber. Star Oil is the vice chair of our chamber. The chamber had a position on the price floor, which was communicated to the National Petroleum Authority. Star Oil, I think otherwise, he has a divergent view. We respect that. But Star Oil in its letter also indicated that he respects the majority decision. So as at now, the chamber is still in support of the price floor, even though we recognize and acknowledge the point raised by Star Oil. We had the meeting. We have started engagement with Star Oil, and I'm very confident that we are going to get them back onto the fold.
You heard the board chairman of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, COMAC, Gabriel Kumi, speaking. Now, the newly sworn-in president of the Ghana Insurance Association, Boatema Bafo Ewa, has issued a candid call to action for the insurance industry to confront the uncomfortable truth of its marginal footprint in the national economy. Bafo Ewa, who is also the CEO of Star Assurance, highlighted a stagnation in insurance penetration, which has remained at approximately 1% of GDP. She emphasized that this figure is starkly low compared to the critical role insurance plays in protecting the assets of families, businesses, and the state. To move beyond rhetoric, the 12th president of the GIA announced the introduction of a quarterly industry scorecard.
As an industry, we must confront an uncomfortable truth. Insurance remains underutilized in Ghana relative to its importance to families, businesses, and the state. The numbers make it plain. Insurance penetration, measured as gross premium relative to GDP, remained 1%. Now, if you use this under the IFRS insurance services revenue basis, it is 0.63. And insurance density per capita spend is only about 202 in 2024. Therefore, we must pursue a results agenda, and we will measure progress transparently. We would publish quarterly industry scorecard tracking penetration, density, compulsory insurance, compliance, claims, turnaround time, premium payment integrity. These are not just statistics. They represent a protection gap, a gap in resilience, in confidence, and in long-term domestic capital our economy needs.
You heard the president of the Ghana Insurance Association, Boatema Bafo Ewa, pledging transparency to tackle low insurance penetration. And that's how we bring an end to today's edition of Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, please visit our website. It's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for tuning in. As always, please stay safe.